record so I don't mind. There we go. Let's dive into our day 3 of our 3-day crystalline architectural pillars. These pillars so far that I have taught you and that I have kind of shared insight about are my pillars that I've used to not only help me navigate, but truly in living authentically and full of integrity, move through life, whether it be a challenge or a blessing that comes my way. These pillars are the foundational blueprint to how I move through, experience, and choose to react and respond to the world around me to support me and where I'm going and how I'm leading myself and in how I'm truly pouring into you and others. Hello. When you're here, say hello. I would love to hear from you. How are you doing? How was the last 2 days of this workshop for you? What questions, what has arisen for you? Are you truly inspired to become the own architect of your crystalline blueprint and set up your own pillars from the teachings, lessons, and learnings that we've gone over the past couple of days? If you're watching the replay, of course, let me know you're here. I am always monitoring the comments and responding and connecting and engaging with each and every single one of you. And lastly, if you want to go deeper on your crystalline blueprint and become a greater architect of your pillars, let me know. We can do it together. You can show me what you laid out in front of you. I'm here to hold space, support you, guide you, and lead you into being the amazing architect of your own design inside of your reality, your spirituality, and your individuality, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So the third pillar of our crystalline architect is integrating the constructs of our ego so we can be whole. And I can't wait to really get into the juicy bits of that. But first, let's recap. Our first pillar had to do with the crystalline consciousness of living Christ heart-centered, living from the space that we know that we want our healers. We know that we're beautiful light leaders. We know that we have what it takes to love, accept, and pour into ourselves and others in the world around us. So when we lead our life from that heart center, which is that portal that Christ, the ascended master, came down to teach and share with us how to do such things, we then truly get to experience life in that higher dimensional reality that we really want to experience. And when we lead more and more with our heart, our acceptance, our giving, our service to self and others, we get to step more and more with living and experiencing that heaven on earth, which everyone has access to. The second pillar that we went over yesterday was the pillar of compassion. The key codes for compassion and how that is truly a catalyst for change. And you saw in front of you what it meant to live and lead your life from that state of compassion, that empowered compassion, where it truly is a catalyst of how you choose to move through life, whether you're the victim of your reality or you're the conscious creator of your reality. That compassion is everything. I've had some really great feedback that I just want to share and celebrate with you. I had a client yesterday, after she listened to this last workshop, came through to me and told me, my work, my 9 to 5 job messed up my entire paycheck. Everyone's paychecks. There was a different person doing payroll or whatever, and they messed it up. And they were so worked up. They were so worked up about it, but they chose to do something a little differently. They chose to meet it with compassion. So instead of blaming, attacking, and projecting this pain, they really deepened themselves into this pillar of compassion and chose to move through it differently, saying, I actually understand this is detrimental to my life. This actually really impacts me financially. However, I know that the person that usually didn't do it. So I don't need to go and project onto that person. I know the person in charge had no idea of what was going on. They were out of town. So I'm not going to project onto that person. I also know that this person that chose to there was a lot more behind it, right? But intentionally mess up everyone's paychecks or incomes I know that they actually came from a place of ego and control and changing things around that they didn't need to change around. So instead of being mad, which we're all right to our own feelings of how we want to process this, instead of just totally coming from a place of hatred, they came from a place of understanding and understanding that this is where this person is operating in and choosing to have compassion for that space in which they're operating in. So it was so beautiful. I wanted to share that and celebrate that with you. That's how easy it is for you to truly anchor into your own pillars and lead yourself of choosing a different response and reaction to affect and be projected in your reality. So let's get started on pillar 3. Today we're going to talk about the ego, the integrated ego versus the constructs of the ego and how to integrate it back into us in a whole space. I am going to share my screen again today because we're going into another teaching, another lesson inside of this. But first and foremost, I want to talk to you about ego. And for so long, so many different soul growth and personal development and spiritual leaders in this world have taught ego to be a thing that was against us, that condemned us, that ego has no place, right? And ultimately, what that's doing is denying a whole aspect of ourselves. So, by telling the ego to set aside, step aside, or quiet down, or put the ego in a cage, and even clear any thoughts or feelings that the ego has brought up by not validating it, these are the teachings that have been really leading the soul growth and personal development, spiritual ascension world for quite a few years, and it needs to stop. And I'm a little more passionate about today because it needs to stop. Because I know firsthand, I have invested in some big name teachers in the industry that have used this methodology. And I realize it is so wrong. It is absolutely so wrong, because we're denying a part of ourselves and a part of our existence. And even more so, we're denying our human experience. And I want to share with you why we've been given egos. Because as humans given egos, it's not only to protect ourselves, but to keep us in a safe space, right? But it's also to provide us with a sense of individuality, a sense of identity, a sense of self, and a sense of purpose to experience in this lifetime. Our ego is such an important tool and a powerful tool at that. And when we realize that our ego has space, has a say, and wants to only be on board with us, when we realize this after clearing out all of the voices of all of these spiritual teachers and all of these leaders that have essentially telling you to deny yourself, to quiet yourself, and to follow blindly into unaligned messages and teachings and methodologies, we need to start healing our ego and learning that our ego has only ever wanted to feel accepted, loved, and integrated, for it to come back whole into our full design, to honor our fullness, and to support us in our mission, purpose, dreams, and realities in this lifetime. So I'm going to get started in this teaching. Buckle up, sit back, relax, get out your notebook, whatever it is that you want to do in this space, so that you can learn deeper about how to, maybe for the first time ever, love, accept, and integrate your ego, deconstruct the programmings and all of the teachings of telling us to deny this part of ourselves, but instead learn what it's saying, what it needs, and how to speak to our ego. So let's dive in even deeper to this training for you today. All right. Give me a second. Technical things. Here we go. All right. So we are obviously talking about the constructs of ego, identification, and integration. And I'm waiting for my screen to load. There we go. It's loaded on your side as well. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about all the things. The ego. Here's what I want you to know and take away from this pillar, this workshop today. When a person has an integrated ego, they have a reliable sense of I am, a sense of their personal identity, thus supporting them in moving through various constructs, experiences in their self and their soul evolution. So, what does this mean? I want the three key aspects of this pillar, pillar 3. What I want you to take away is the evolution of our ascending soul, an elevated consciousness, right? We're all on this mission to raise our consciousness, to experience life in an elevated consciousness, to connect, ascend, and become more aligned with our higher self and our higher being. And through this, it comes down to 3 things: being able to fully understand, accept, and experience our individuality, which is our 3D self. Hello, hi, we're here, we're human. Our reality, our 5D self, and our spirituality, our 5D and beyond, all of the different dimensional realities that we get to choose to exist, experience, and live from. So, how we choose to see, feel, and respond to each of these categories of ourselves determines everything of how we experience the world, life, and mission that we live around us. When we begin to readjust the lens of our inner aspects of ourselves, I want you to see how this feels for you. Lean into it, feel into it, think into it, and invite yourself to take a look and allow yourself to create a connection with your inner ego. Your ego is a part of you, and it's supportive of you. It's your soul and your higher self in this ascension journey that you have allowed your soul to guide you on. Your ego is a part of your story. So, in this part of your exploration, I want you to begin to invite yourself to view yourself through the lens of the ego operations, the soul operations, and most importantly, understand and observe how the spiritual ego is impacting our lives as we awaken, ascend, and embody our soul and our higher self, right? Just our wholeness, integrating the ego and becoming whole, getting all of our aspects on board. So we're here, we're whole, we're present, we're doing all the things together, and no one is fighting. No one is taking a back seat. Everyone is heard, valid, and accepted. So I have this really cool chart, which I love to converse about, and I want to show it to you too. I've had a lot of different people tell me their beliefs on this chart, so it's really great. Would love to hear yours as well, if this makes sense for you, and if you would like to go deeper on this inside of a soul exploration. So the ego loop versus the soul spiral, my favorite charts to visually represent this, what this means. We have the ego loop where ego just wants to stay in a loop because that's where it feels safe. It's what it knows. The ego is a programming and operating on what it knows, how it feels, what is safety, what is stability. Our ego is what keeps us safe when we're not thinking, when we're not fully present. Our ego is keeping us in a loop, repeating the same cycles over and over again because it's what it knows. It's how it keeps us safe, it's how it feels. And the ego holds a very important aspect of ourselves, as it is the warrior, but only when we heal the wounded warrior within us, thus turning us to embrace the powerful warrior. So instead of we're a wounded warrior, we're a powerful warrior because our ego is integrated whole and on board with us. Then we have the soul spiral. So these are the 2 differences. Our intuition is connected to our soul. It is what calls you to make a gradual change in your life, these micro changes that I talk about when we set up our life, when we want to experience new reality. We have to do it microly. We can't do it all at once because we'll shock our system. It's not what we're used to. So, as our soul spirals, it changes to align with the life that our soul wants, our higher self wants, one that leads us towards spiritual development and transcending into our highest design, into the unknown, pure consciousness, and can see the past repeating cycles when we allow ourselves to stop what we're doing, living on autopilot, and go into consciously understanding our reality. What does this mean for you? What I want you to know inside of what does this mean for you? How can you begin to identify? We identify the ego. We automatically consider ourselves as self, an individual separate from others. It's the natural world. And it's knowing that there's something bigger than us out there. Our ego is this individual identification of the mind and the physical body and the 5D senses: sight, sound, touch, smell, taste. Our ego is very much connected to our 3D materialistic response world. So when a spiritual awakening happens or a next level of ascension happens, it throws our ego off kilter, especially if it's a wounded ego. And it throws us into this repetitive same loop and cycle that is keeping us in this lower frequency, in this lower design, keeping us safe and secure for what it knows versus allowing us to go into the unknown. So when our spiritual awakening happens or that next level of ascension happens, that really icky, sticky feeling, the uncomfortability of it, right? Our individual begins to realize that there are more than just bodies. Our ego gets to see that there's more than just this physical world and the movie that it's playing over and over again in front of us. Our soul steps in and begins to see that there is sensations and emotions and mental mind thinking, right? There is bodies outside of bodies outside of bodies. So if you know anything about energy or Reiki or the energetics, we know that we have a physical body, an emotional body, a mental body, a spiritual body, and they're all making up different aspects and parts of our auric field, our auric layers. And the ego is very much in the physical. And so this can be both liberating and also really terrifying. But when our ego is integrated and heard and seen and validated, our ego gets to be on board. And so less of the terrifying plays out and more of this liberating, okay, I'm safe, supported gets to play out. So this often requires a set of practices. So just like you building your crystalline architect, your pillars that support you, these are the practices that come into play when we move through life, when challenges arise, when the next level of ascension is ready to enter and transform our life, when we're ready to reach that next state of consciousness. These practices of our pillars come into play. We always are open and available for needing guidance, someone to hold space for you. Meditation, breath work, contemplation, all of these things help us manage being in this world while not being of it, right? We're in this world, we're living in this world. We have to accept that we are human. And I think a lot of us on the spiritual journey and self-development, self-discovery path forget the human aspect. Forget that we are in this body. So yes, we can be up in the ethers all day long, playing and connecting and channeling and all of these things, right? But when it comes back down into bringing it into the body, how have you supported yourself? How have you set yourself up? How have you prepared yourself to integrate fully into the body? And so this is where the integration process of becoming whole comes into place. integrating the ego, we reconnect the fragmented parts of ourselves, the parts that have been split off or exiled because of the shame or because of teachings that we have told to deny this part of ourselves, and even from the pain that we hold. So I want to insert here the incredible importance of shadow work, the incredible importance of having a soul, spiritual life mentor, someone that's been there, that's seen, that's experienced, that has the knowledge, the tools, and the abilities to help show you, guide you, hold you, and support you for where you're going, seeing where you've been and knowing where you're going. I will tell you right now, the only way that I am able to connect and hold space and guide and lead and support my clients that come to me is because I've been there, because I've supported and guided over 800 people in the same experience, same journey. That I know each outcome, each soul is so individual, so unique to their own path, that we are not all one and the same, and we all require something differently. So for me to be able to show up, teach, share, guide, lead, support you, I've had to do it myself, and I will never guide or lead someone into something I have not done myself, experienced myself, and had the honor and privilege of supporting over 800 souls in one-on-one experiences in doing the same. So let's insert right here what it means to begin to heal and become whole. This is the shadow work. This isn't some dark, scary place where we have to resurface and trigger all of our traumas. But this is a place where we get to bring our new, bright, profound light, our healing light, our supportive light with guidance, with support, and shine that light onto these little shadows, these little corners that are keeping us in this lower dimensional frequency existence experience. And I want to begin to normalize shadow work as a massive tool in your personal and soul support kit. So these are the parts of ourselves that we don't like, the parts of ourselves that are vulnerable or afraid or even sometimes caused by trauma, often buried, these painful parts of ourselves. We also inadvertently also bury the more joyful parts of ourselves. And it's not until we can shine our light on these shadows that we can say, I don't have to suffer and it doesn't have to be painful anymore. I get to face this. And just like we talked about yesterday with compassion, I get to face this with compassion. And just like we talked about 2 days ago with love and acceptance, I get to face this with compassion, love, and acceptance, meaning I'm supporting myself. I have my pillars completely set up to support me. So that when we find these small little shadows, these big, massive shadows in the corners, we meet it from a completely different space, from a space where you have a higher understanding of where you've been and where you evolved into higher states of consciousness and soul-led experiences. So by integrating these parts of us, we come to observe our identity and our egoic sense of self. Is our egoic sense of self a victim or a creator of our reality, which we will get fully into here coming up next in the next workshop that I'm hosting. Well, it's more than a workshop. And the next program that I'm hosting for you is Ignite the Light Within, where not only are we talking about the power of now, why we're called to do this now and support ourselves in this now, but we're also talking about transcending the ego. And I'm giving you a full-on training for all 7 ego key codes that you get to download, program into your field right here, right now. This training is something I teach only my higher signature elite clients that are ready for this. And I'm ready for everyone to accept and receive this training because we all get to ascend and transcend through our ego key codes. We get to have our ego come on board and heal with us, be a really powerful tool inside of our healing toolkit. And the last week inside of the Ignite the Light Within is being the creator and having creator codes. So I'm excited to share that with you. But what I want you to know right now is you are the creator of your reality. You do have what it takes. You are seeing right in front of you. These pillars are so easy for you to become the own architect of your crystalline design, of your blueprint, of your pillars, how to support yourself. You're creating your life. You are here because you are not a victim. You are here because you are the creator and the expander and the experiencer of your life. So let's get ego on board. I'm going to make sure we're all good here before I dive in. All right. So within week 2, like I just talked about, of Ignite the Light Within, I'm going to provide you a full, deep training, one-on-one training for you to learn how to truly, fully, and confidently transcend ego key codes in a full training. So all 5 key codes, there's 7, so there's 2 bonus ones, but the 5 that we're going to focus on, and you'll get the other 2 as well, there's 7 of them. These key codes get to download into your consciousness. Wow, we're transcending into a higher state of consciousness to begin to start using and integrating our ego, getting it on board. So I want to provide you inside of this training today, the very first key code in which we will be going even deeper in the Ignite the Light Within program coming up that I'm sharing, that I'm inviting you into. I'd love to have you there and experience either way, either version that you're ready to experience. So let's dive in, unlock, and uncover the very first key code inside of this transcending ego key codes. This key code is the very first one. It's learning to transcend the ego. And I think it's the most important one so that the rest of us can get on board. Ego is the energy of separation, individuality, oneness. What can I materialize? What can I identify as my identity? So our ego is our identity. And it gets to be a healthy identity. It doesn't always have to be a wounded one. So I want us to start learning how to create a healthy, supportive identity for where we want to go inside of our soul support, spiritual expansion, and personal growth journey. If you want to learn so much more about identity, I have an entire course that's actually dedicated to that. It's called the Identity Course, how to integrate a new healing and whole identity. For now, what I want you to know is ego is the energy of separation, individuality, identity, self-discovery. It doesn't care how you feel. It just cares what you believe. It's very subconscious. It's very programmed. It's very autopilot. It's very what's keeping us and holding us in this energy of separation, feeling estranged or different from others, whether it's a healed ego, keeping us individual and confident, empowered, and reaching our goals, or it's a wounded ego, keeping us separate, estranged, disconnected, different, less than, or even withheld from others. So, this code that we learn is validating and finding love and individuality, learning to love every single part of yourself. And here's how you can do that today inside of this pillar 3. Inside of this pillar 3, I want you to start rebuilding a different relationship with ego. Anywhere and everywhere that you have told your ego to step aside, be quiet, shut down, sit in that cage, go away, we're calling our ego back front and center into us right now. And so when you begin to call your ego back front and center into you right now, welcome it as if it's an individual, something outside of you, because it has been for so long. Hello, ego. Nice to know you. Nice to get to know you. Meet your ego. Maybe it even has a name. Maybe it's an ulterior ego, an ulterior identity from you. Connect with it. I have a beautiful friend who has a book on egos who I have not read yet, but I would love to read it. But she actually gives her ego a complete name and color and identity so that she can learn how to befriend it and heal it and become whole with it. So what I want you to do is I want you to create a relationship with your ego. What does it need? What has it been trying to tell you? Where does it feel that it needs to keep you safe and small and separate? And how can you begin to lead your ego from your soul? Yes, ego, we want everyone on board. Yes, ego, we understand that's where your concerns are. Let's be intentional, aware, and conscious of these concerns when they arrive. Yes, ego, these rest of our pillars that we've set into place over the last couple of days are supportive for what we all want, where we all want to go and grow and experience life from. So, your takeaway to design this pillar is to create a new relationship with your ego, to validate and find love in your individuality, who you are as an individual, why you're here on this earth, in this mission and purpose, in this lifetime. What does your ego need? What does it want to tell you? How does it want to feel seen, heard, validated? And learning to love every part of that ego. If this is something you desire to go deeper in and you're ready to fully ignite your light within, I want to give you a little bit of information on this next upcoming program, Ignite the Light Within. You can read all of this on the information page. But what I really want you to take away is that this is a new light. This isn't some light some burning flame that we've been trying to keep alive for so long. This is a new light that we are creating, designing, activating, and programming together. So when you tap into Ignite the Light Within, we are actually accessing a new activation timeline that you have not accessed before, that is available for you now. And you're doing it. I'm not doing it for you. I'm guiding you. I'm showing you how. But you are so powerful of a healer, a leader, a soul to step in and activate this new timeline for yourself. And I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is what we're going to do for 3 weeks together. The first week, we're going to talk about the power of now, which is activating this timeline. Okay. Then we're going to code this timeline. So we're going to transcend the ego key codes. Hey, we're going to activate the power of now. This is what we want. This is where we're at. This is what our dreams are. This is what our goals are. This is the power of now. And why is it now? Why is our soul calling us to now? We're going to really activate that. In the way of that, we need to make sure that we are supported and everyone is on board. So how do we do that? We do that by transcending our ego key codes. I'm giving you the full-on training. Like I said, this training has been for my signature clients, for my souls that are in this advanced elite level, but I want you to have access to it in this program, access to it like everyone else. So this is truly a really intensive 7 key code transcending the egos through this, so that every time this ego shows up, every time this ego is activated, you know how to move through it, you know how to support yourself, you know where to go, and you just byproductly move through it and ascend and access a higher level of consciousness and make a new choice and see how this new choice is actually reflected throughout your reality. So our 3rd week is the creator codes. You are the creator of your life. You are the creator of your reality. You have this and have had this all along. So with that said, let's create a brand new light. Let's bring in and activate this brand new light, supported by your pillars, supported by your soul, supported by your ego, getting everyone on board, activating this highest timeline with this new light, bringing it inside of you, and creating the life that you want to live, creating this timeline that you're ready to experience life and through a newfound conscious level of connection, community, experience. And then I have a bonus week, which is my absolute favorite week, is accessing your soul fire chamber activation. You are going to do this. We're going to do this by accessing this soul fire, this new flame, this new spark inside of you. And the way that I've been doing this right now with my one-on-one clients have been so potent. They're like, oh my gosh, just by writing this out, just by activating this and coding this into my field, I can do anything. I am doing everything differently. So you are going to create a devotional to yourself to what it is that you want to access inside of the soul fire, how it is you want to live. We're going to lay everything out. And ultimately, you just get to start living from this space. You get to start experiencing life from this space because you are so incredibly intentional about creating your life. And I'm going to show you how to do all this. So don't worry, don't get overwhelmed. I'm going to share as much information as I can here without overwhelming you. But you are the creator of your life. And I'm going to show you how to actually not only create it and just have a vision board about it, but live it, experience it, embody it, practice it in your reality. Everything I do teaches you how to have awakening awareness, full on practicing and effortless embodiment because you know who you are. You've practiced who you are and you are truly becoming your highest soul self. So what does this look like? Here's what I want you to know. You can register for the Ignite the Light Within. You can choose your energetic investment for this 3 weeks, plus lifetime access to all other releases. So something super cool that came through my channel is Ignite the Light Within isn't just this singular workshop. You actually activate one time. So you invest in yourself one time. In every other release, it could be about something completely different. We're going to ignite the light. We're going to ignite a new flame. We're going to create a new activation. We're going to connect to a new timeline. So every single version of Ignite the Light Within is not a singular workshop. It's a completely different, unique opportunity to access that next level of ascension each and every time it's launched. It will not be the same topics. We will not be going over the same things. But what we're going over right now is essential for you and your ascension journey, your personal growth journey, your soul evolution journey. And each time it's launched is just going to launch you and activate you and program you into that next level, that next layer, that next timeline that you're available for now. So what I want to do in this round is it's $197 for full access for this, plus all other releases, activations, and coding of the next layer of the Ignite the Light Within. And this round, I have space and availability to hold 4 souls, only 4 of you that choose to come into this in a VIP access to this program. So not only will you get full access to Ignite the Light Within, you also get weekly one-on-one calls so we can go even deeper, so we can program, grid, and ground you even deeper into this new light that you've ignited, activated, and timeline that you've stepped into. So if this sounds like something that you want to have access to, we start October 22nd. And so we start October 22nd. We meet once a week. If you are a VIP, if you choose the VIP path, you have the once a week program plus once a week one-on-one calls. So we're connecting very deeply, very intensely for 3 weeks, twice a week. That's what the access is for VIP. For the rest of you that are really ready to just ignite, feel, ascend, and step into that timeline that you want to access, you can fully access it. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Those of you that want that, it's $197. It's that 3 weeks plus every single version and just evolved version of Ignite the Light Within that comes out. You get full access to it without even having to invest again. You are fully invested, fully committed, and I am to you. So I want you to see that I want to pour into you. I love to serve and access you inside of supporting you, helping and growing in what you truly desire and what you're truly worthy of. That is the full rundown of Ignite the Light Within. I am so grateful for supporting you, holding space for you inside of building your crystalline own architectural design, having these pillars support you, hold you, and lead you through every single twist, turn, bend that you go through in your personal life, your soul development, and your spiritual evolution. I can't wait to support you in so many more ways. If you have any questions, absolutely reach out. Let me know, leave a comment. Let's work on you for you because you are worthy and deserving of it. And I will see you really, really soon.